like a cave from the road, but it's not.
Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's Richie from Boston. Today's the 17th of March, 2017. And according to CERN's latest tweet and Futurism magazine, today CERN announced an exceptional new discovery that was made by the LHC B, lowercase b, which unveiled 5 new states all at once. 5 new states all at once. I find the wording very, very peculiar. 5 new states, not 5 new particles, 5 new states. The Large Hadron Collider, the latest addition to CERN's accelerator complex, is the most powerful ever built, 16-mile ring, 27 kilometers, blah, blah, blah. If you followed me for a long time, you already know the deal. And I do notice that they're leaving out the word awake. They're not mentioning the Wakefield Collider at all. But what they do mention is more than 10,000 scientists, engineers currently working together to learn about fundamental properties of physics using the LHC. The LHC is responsible for the discovery of the Higgs boson, maybe, potentially disproving the existence of the paranormal, and discovered a host of new particles. And if you go back to this article that link provided, the LHC disproves the existence of ghosts and the paranormal, which is really peculiar because we pretty much know that the exact opposite is true. Looks like Ghostbusters have some competition. It's renowned physicist and science communicator Brian Cox. But rather than bust some ghosts, it looks more like he's in the business of destroying the idea of the paranormal entirely. 4 in 10 believe in ghosts, though he was sharing a simple conclusion he's reached with the Large Hadron Collider. Well, that's peculiar. It's peculiar because we've got these guys over and over and over and over and over again explaining how they're going to other dimensions and making contact. I mean, seriously. Okay, this is Eric Lazinski. Now, this is the guy that built the D-Wave. Well, Richie, you're talking about CERN, not the D-Wave. Well, let me tell you something. If you know anything about anything, D-Wave is what controls CERN. D-Wave controls everything. You remember when Russians attacked us and knocked out Twitter and knocked out Netflix and knocked out everything else? That's not what it was at all. They were simply swapping over from their regular servers and everything to the D-Wave. So there's that. But let's listen to Eric Lazinski right now explain how they're going to other dimensions.
Hey everybody. So I'm gonna tell you a crazy but true story about the nature of your universe. So you may have heard this word quantum computing. It's often people have the misconception that it's some kind of newfangled supercomputer. It's decidedly not that. Quantum computers allow us to access hidden features of nature, new dimensions, and if we can access these sort of hidden dimensions, to access hidden features of nature, new dimensions, and if we can access these sort of hidden dimensions at scale, we could have unimaginable computing power.
Okay, so I'm not going to play the entire thing. You've heard it before. If you haven't, links will be in the description. But these guys are now, for whatever reason, they've decided that CERN is the best way to figure out if there's ghosts because they're going to other dimensions. And apparently now, mum's the word, it would seem. But I digress. If you're interested in what Brian Cox has to say about the absence of ghosts now, because there's no after, you see what they're doing? You see what the entire huge end game is? Not only is it the Big Bang machine, they're trying to recreate the Big Bang as though it was a fact. So these guys are trying to recreate a theory, and that's just a fact. I don't know what to tell you. You can argue all you want. You can fanboy all you want. The Big Bang is nothing more than a theory that doesn't really make any sense. But this giant machine that has its own currency, CERN uses its own money, just like the Vatican. This machine, where they've dumped piles of money so large that they actually had to make up their own type of money, is going to recreate the moments after the Big Bang. Well, wouldn't you spend all that money recreating something after you actually proved the theory in the first place? We've seen theories turn into facts without any scientific work in the middle done to prove it without a doubt. Evolution's never been proven. It's a Terrible, terrible theory. There's no missing links. There should be millions of them. And it just doesn't make any sense. If you're an animal in nature turning into something else ever so slowly, everything's going to come by and eat you. It's never going to happen. But again, I digress. Gravity. Yeah, gravity. The amount of gravity it would take to keep the Pacific Ocean in place would crush everything else. And I'll leave it at that. Electromagnetism is the word you're looking for. It's not gravity, but that's also another theory. Oh, this stuff pisses me off. But at any rate, according to these guys, they have found the latest addition to CERN. I already read that to you. The energy densities that are created when these collisions occur, you already know that. It's a project massive. It's unparalleled proportions, exactly. And today, a paper proved that these discoveries aren't slowing down because CERN announced via Twitter 5 particles in one go observed an exceptionally large group of particles in a single analysis. And there's a link right there. If you guys aren't subscribed to CERN on Twitter, you should. It's very amusing for the most part. But let's see. They're always looking for the dark sectors, aren't they? Let's see what Claire Lee, physicist, has to say. Claire Lee, physicist.
What we really want is to understand the universe.
First off, let me remind you, physicists always look like this and they always dress like this because that's just how it goes, because we live in a Hollywood created reality right now. But I digress.
And why it looks and acts the way it does today. Our role as particle physicists are to figure out what the elementary particles are and how they fit together and interact, kind of like puzzle pieces, and the way the puzzle pieces fit together to give us a picture of the universe.
Hey, Claire. Yes, what is it? Hey, we're going to be doing a video today on the 5 new, what do they call them? The 5 new states that we discovered all at once. So can you dress up like a lower end prostitute from Colombia? Because we're going to need you to do a smart talk. We want you to dress up like a physicist and be really smart, but wear something really, really low and put on a lot of makeup poorly. I mean, just pack it into a shotgun and shoot it on your face. Okay. All right. And action.
Over the last 120 years or so, we've discovered all the individual puzzle pieces that build up to give us a theory called the Standard Model, which is kind of like the picture on the box. But we know that it's an incomplete.
Wait a minute. Were her pants literally bedazzled?
But we know that it's an incomplete theory. What we've essentially got is a small section of a puzzle picture that fits.
I'm blowing this up. Okay, Claire. And action.
Together very nicely and gives us all the particles that we see today. But we have no idea what the bigger picture is. The Higgs boson that we discovered in 2012 was the final piece in our Standard Model puzzle. And it was a
Yeah, we discovered it in 2012, 5 years ago when I was 25, but I was already a physicist back then because, I got my degree when I was 13.
Fantastic discovery because it completed that small picture. And now what we can do is possibly use this Higgs boson to access the other parts of the puzzle. So our Higgs boson becomes like a Rosetta Stone to talk between the Standard Model particles and these new, what we call dark sector or hidden sector particles.
Okay, Claire, what was the actual Higgs boson again? What was that? What did that prove to us? Okay, nothing. Okay, never mind. But keep referring to it as though it was a proven fact also.
So we're going to need to create many, many more Higgs bosons to be able to start seeing hints of this. And that's where the higher energy is useful.
We're going to start creating more Higgs bosons. See, if I didn't get the memo of when they started creating particles now, but apparently they created the Higgs boson, the God particle. Now they're going to start creating God particles. You see what's going on?
When we go to higher energy, it's almost as if we're getting a microscope to look on what we've discovered so far.
It wouldn't be like getting a microscope if what you're doing is actually real and you're looking at particles smaller than atoms. You would definitely need a microscope. So it's not like that. So somebody's got to change that script. And
it's possible that there are some very small differences in that Higgs boson, like the way that it decays. that we haven't noticed yet because we haven't had a strong enough microscope. But with a higher energy collider, with the LHC running at 13 TeV, maybe that is going to give us a strong enough microscope so we can see some small differences between our standard model theory and the Higgs boson that we have today. And maybe that'll give us some hint of some new physics that we can expect to come. The most exciting thing would be to find something that is completely outside the standard model. Even if it's just a hint that there is something more within our reach, just to give us an idea of where to look for new physics. There's got to be something out there. We know that our picture is incomplete, and we just have to find the right place to look for it.
And yet we still teach, on the side of MIT, Darwin's name's covered, even though that was a theory that he didn't even like. And these people are looking for things where they can find the right harmonics to open the pit. That's all they're doing. That's where they got this technology from. Dark matter, that's all they care about. Oh, for instance, my cursor is right on the word dark matter, parallel dimensions, and what happened during the earliest moments of the Big Bang, which is still a theory that can never, ever be proven, but they're actually looking for it. Do you see what I'm saying? This is all nonsensical. But let's get Bill Nye, the science guy, to see what he thinks about this. Hold on, he's putting on his super collider. Oh, that's not super collider, it's Speed Walker. There you go, there's Bill Nye, my mistake, he's busy. At any rate, don't believe any of this. They're trying to open the pit. They're trying to figure out a way to get off this planet because NASA cannot go to the moon, they can't go to Mars, they can't do anything like this. CERN is trying to kick the side door out because they can't get off this planet. Richie from Boston, like, share, subscribe, or leave a snarky comment. I'm used to it. I'm out.